Hey Brady, Joe Icono with GoBlackKnights.com. How you doing tonight? How's the first week of practice been for you?
It's been really good. Very happy with how the offensive line have been playing. And honestly, the offense has been doing very well. So I'm very happy so far.
Great. And a couple new faces on the offensive line, but you guys do have a lot of game reps across the board. If you look at especially the top five or top six on the O line. Talk a little bit about how this new version of the mob is gelling and coming together and what you see for this unit going forward as the season gets rolling here.
Yeah. So I mean, I see the offensive line as the key component to our offense. Right. We don't run without the offensive line. We pride ourselves in being the unit that's going to dominate teams up front. And we got a bunch of guys, a bunch of young guys stepping up. We got guys like Paolo Generelli, Lane Parks, guys that are stepping up in um, really big positions right now. We're down uh, and basically, it's going to stay the same, right? The offensive line is always going to be the toughest unit on the field, and we pride ourselves on that. And I'm just really excited to see what this unit can do this year.
And last year, you were in a super unique position, especially at West Point, of being a starting freshman center. We really haven't seen that much over the years at West Point. A lot of pressure, and you handled it extremely well. And it's funny, even though you're only going into your sophomore yearling year here, you seem like a KG veteran at this point because of all the starts you've had and kind of one of the leaders of the offensive line. Talk a little bit about how your leadership skills, since, as Coach Munkin says, West Point is the number one leadership lab in the country. Talk a little bit about how your leadership skills have matured and improved, leading the mob kind of as the center over the last year and now in the spring and fall practice.
Yeah, I mean, I had a really great group of seniors last year that have kind of paved the way for this unit right now, and we have really good seniors this year. We got Lucas Scott, we got Booby Law, David Hoyt. We got guys that are natural leaders that make it easier for me to help lead this unit, and it kind of allows me to take what I've already like the game experience that I have and kind of put it into the rest of the unit. So if anything was to happen, we can be firing on all cylinders no matter what.
And last year you guys primarily ran out of the shotgun, although the Coastal Carolina game was different, obviously. This year it'll be a lot more under center, a lot more hybrid. How are the center quarterback exchanges going, knowing that you have to switch between gun and under center?
Yeah, I mean, that's what me and Bryson have been doing a lot, especially this offseason. It's just one of those things that, you do it so many times, it becomes a natural thing. And kind of the most important thing is the snap, right? So we kind of have our system and we have it down to a T. And, I'm just really excited to see what this offense can do and how we're going to perform this year.
And last question for you, similar to something Ken asked your high school teammate Kanye Udo and backfield mate here the other day. Now that the pressure of plebe year at West Point is kind of off your shoulders, and you've gone through Buckner and getting ready to start your yearling year. Does that kind of free you up a little bit mentally? And just take a little bit of stress off to be able to think about football a little bit more. I mean, I know you were always thinking about it anyway as the starting center, but there is a lot of pressure that comes along with being a plebe. Do you feel a little freer mentally?
Um, Yeah, I guess in a way, kind of a little less, things that I have to do down there that like little tax and stuff that they make plebes do. But, West Point, all 4 years is going to be difficult. Academically, it just gets harder each year, right? But
Yeah.
I'm super excited. I have really good support system down at the core, and I have people that in my circle that are willing to help me, so I can do what I have to do up here. And I'm just really excited to handle my business down there, so I can do what I got to do up here to help our team win.
Thanks, Brady.
Thank you.
Brady, yes, good to see you. Ken Kreitzer with Cam Vets Media. And again, as Joe asked you about, you came in from not being a center. As I understand, in high school, you played defense. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you made the how did you make the adjustment to being a center and then being called to be a starter when Bill Cassianis got hurt in last summer? And how did you feel? How did you make that adjustment to learning the position, then having to go in and start?
Right. So I mean, as a defensive lineman, one thing that I really like prided myself on was like a motor, playing really fast, playing physical, right? So I just took what I knew from defense and kind of applied it to offense. And turns out that's what we pride ourselves on the offensive line. So it was a perfect fit. And I don't think I would have been able to do it that early without the help of Coach Vidi, Coach Drenkel, and the senior class. They really took me in, like I've said before, and they really helped me, especially Bill Catianis. Me and Bill would stay after practice, and he would hammer the fundamentals with me, make sure I knew everything and that just shows what type of leader he is, and shows what type of man that he is to allow. Something really unfortunate was happening to him, and instead of wanting the worst for me, he wanted what was best for me, the best for this team, and he helped me tremendously.
Very good. And just how did your game improve over the season? And you played all 12 games, and then you got to the big games at the end of the season. Against Air Force and Navy, the big rivalry games. How did your game grow over the course of the year?
Yeah, I would just say getting more comfortable at the center position, right? Not playing center like at all growing up. Um, Kind of allowed me to, the first couple of games kind of just get a feel. And, when you have such a good support system around you, it makes it kind of easier to feel more comfortable. And, like I said, that senior class, they put a lot of trust in me, right? It's not easy to put a lot of trust into a center, a freshman center, especially. And, one of the most important positions on the field. Like you can't get a playoff without the snap. And those guys really put a lot of trust in me. The coaches put a lot of trust in me, and I'm really thankful that they had that faith in me that I was willing to that I could do my job.
I got to ask you, you went against Syracuse and LSU last year, big names in college football. And I remember when Army went out to Oklahoma, and I asked the center at the time, "What is it like to lead your team up?" And the other team's players all had Oklahoma on their jersey, and he said, they're just say the red jerseys. How did you feel like when you got into a couple of those big situations and you're leading your team up to the line?
Yeah, I mean, just like the other center said, we just another jersey, just another team, right? We don't look into who we're playing, right? I mean, it's just a nameless face opponent, right? And one thing that I'm really happy about last year with that unit was we were able to handle adversity very well. 2-6 team going into the Air Force week, and was able to turn it around and end up winning the CIC. So, I'm very happy for that group, but I'm really excited for this group of guys that we have this year, and I'm really excited to see what we can do.
Hey,
This year.
last question. Just how did you manage it all last year? Starting to get a starting assignment, you're handling all the freshman requirements, and then going to starting your academics at West Point. How'd you handle all that?
I have a great support system. I got a great support system at home. There was a lot of days that were super tough, right? So my family played a big part, kind of keeping me sane. And I have a great support system here down at the core. We have academic advisors. If I was struggling in a class, they would get me the extra help that I needed. And like I said up here, that senior class and the coaches were really willing to work with me and hammer down everything that I needed to do to perform on the field.
Thanks. Good to see you.
Thanks, sir.
Hi, Brady. Ken McMillan, Times Herald record.
How you doing, sir?
Good, Brady. Hey, Jets or Giants? Was it a decision to make as a Jersey guy or?
Yeah, so I'm actually at the bottom of South Jersey, so I technically should be an Eagles fan, but I'm a Giants fan. I'm a Giants fan.
All right, cool. As far as stepping into the position, you mentioned about making the move from defensive line to center, but how did that come about? Was it a suggested to you, or did you say, "Oh, look, open spot"?
I think it was so Coach Dringle recruited me, right? And I think it was one of those things that they were looking for a center, and I guess I fit the center description for our offensive line. And at prep, Noah Knapp was our AI who played offensive line for this brotherhood, and he kind of gave me the news. He was like, basically told me that from the big boss down here, you're moving the center. So I at first, I wasn't super thrilled, but my dad told me I have two decisions to make. I can either like cry about it and just pout, or make the most of your decision. Obviously, they want you to play center for a reason, and the rest was history.
All right, but still, you had to kind of it seems simple enough, hike the ball, right? But it's not. So
Yeah.
how did you learn the position?
Yeah, so lots of hours in Coach Drinkle and Coach Vidi's office, right? So, you know, my first start against ULM obviously didn't go the way we wanted, and that next week, hours on hours in the office, just hammering the playbook and just making sure that that would not happen again. And I would be naive to think that I got here alone. I know I didn't, and like I've said before, that senior class and the coaches have really been tremendous to me.
But did the position come natural to you?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, like I said earlier, kind of just took what I knew from defensive line and applied it to the offensive line. Obviously, it took a little bit to get comfortable with the snaps, but once you get the snap down, you kind of just play fast, and let the rest happen.
Is that a scary position?
No, I love center, right? A guy that never wanted to play offensive line in college that is playing offensive line in college. I don't regret anything. I'm so happy that I got moved to offensive line. Is one of the best things that has happened to me, and I'm just super excited for this unit and how we're going to perform this year.
You mentioned ULM was a disappointment for the team, but how about just how confident were you early on, or was this something that was a project that we just didn't see?
Um, uh, can you repeat
As
that?
far as your development.
Oh yeah, so I mean, like I guess in a way, like the ULM game, just we as a unit on both sides of the ball, we didn't play up the par for our standards, and you know our captains did a great job last year, and really like sat us down and was like, we cannot let this happen again. Like we were the better team, right? Obviously we lost, but we didn't let that game define us, and we had a rocky start, but we were able to turn it around and end up winning the CIC. So.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that big picture sense. You guys win the CIC, which is critical to you, but you also went 6-6. Tell me what it was like when the season was over and you guys got together and chatted and talked. What was the mood? What was the reaction to it?
I mean, obviously, we were super excited to win the CIC, right? It's one of the biggest trophies for the academies. But we 6-6 is unacceptable for this program, right? We hold ourselves to a higher standard, and it was right back to work, right? So the whole talk during this offseason was we don't want to go 6-6. We want to have a winning record. We want to go to a bowl game, and we want to win the CIC again. So that's been the standard, and I'm really happy with how we performed in the spring and the summer. And yeah, so I'm super excited, really excited for this season.
Sure. Last thing, Kanye Udo was a teammate. What did you see of this kid when you were in high school together?
Yeah, so Kanye's always been special, right? Kanye, you know, I used to call him the silent assassin, right? He doesn't talk a lot, right? And in high school, he would just run through people's faces. You better bring more than one person to tackle him. But you know, luckily, I was able to convince him to come to Army. Recruiting was a weird time for us during COVID, and he needed a home. And I reached out to Coach Drinkle, who was recruiting me. I was like, "Yo, we need this kid," and he agreed. And I was able to convince him to come. And the rest is history. We went to prep together, and we just won the first CIC together. So.
Obviously, you rely on all your classmates eventually, but still having a friend that close to you, how much of an assistance was that?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, that was my selling piece to him. We played 4 years together in high school. Why not making another four in college, right? And me and him have always had that tight relationship, the offensive line running back relationship, and being able to move back to the offensive line to block for him. I know he was really excited, and I was actually kind of excited after I thought about it. I was like, okay, I get to block for him again, like I did in high school. So.
But we've seen the Army running backs with Buchanan and such were just bulls. But Kanye strikes me as a guy who can bowl, but also is very nifty, finds those little holes.
Yeah, so I mean, we have a great running back room, right? We got guys like Kanye, and then we got guys like Jake Grandina, who reminds me of Jacoby Buchanan, who is going to pound the ball on the 4th and 1, right? So I mean, we have a whole bunch of different weapons, and that's why I'm like so excited for how the season's going to turn out, and joining the AAC, obviously getting to play a whole set of different teams, it's going to be a great year.
Last thing, you talked to earlier about doing a lot of work with Bryson in the offseason. Tell me about your work with all the other quarterbacks. What's it like for a center? It's like a catcher having to get used to 5 starting pitchers, I imagine.
Yeah, so I mean, all the centers, all the quarterbacks during the summer would go out together, and we would have all the quarterbacks just rotate. So we would do 5 snaps, rotate next quarterback, and we would just go right down the line, and we just keep doing that because every center is different, and just getting comfortable with each quarterback is key, and I think that's really benefited us, during the first starts of camp.
So you feel comfortable with anybody behind you.
Sir,
All right, sounds good. Brody, thank you for your time.
thank you, sir. Have a good one.
Take
Thanks, Brady. Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming on late on a Saturday night.
Okay.
Well,
Thank
have a good
you.
night, everyone.
Take care.
Thanks. We'll see you.